Hi guys, as you may have seen, I published some new very interesting set files for the ATG Gold Trader. If you want to get it because you don't watch all the time, you know, the updates on the platform where I published it, then just let me know on Telegram and I'm going to send it to you. The original sets that I am running now since January, and the entire EA, the new engine version that I am running from October, is going great on a 100% auto trading live account. Now I am planning to add much more money into that account as well, and I also published a new signal for the new higher risk to reward sets. In this video I wanted to talk about some stuff related to the United States, and these are all the new policies, all the new rules and tariffs and everything that the new presidency is pushing forward. And the one thing that I am going to explain in this video are the tariffs on Mexico, Canada and China primarily. And of course, as you know, I am a developer. I am developing algorithms. I like numbers. I am not a politics guy, like I don't know how they are. You know, I am a mathematics person and I like numbers. So all these videos that I want to make about these topics are purely based on numbers. I don't care about dogmas. So first of all, the US now imposed a 25% tariff on Canada and Mexico, and from 10% to 20% on China. This is all because of the fentanyl crisis that the US is facing for years and years, and it is causing a huge amount of deaths based on statistics, as I said, purely based on numbers. And based on the thinking of the new presidency, these tariffs are going to push these nations to impose stricter rules against drug trading, trafficking, micro trafficking, all these things, because the US is really struggling with an opioid crisis. It is the truth, and something has to be done. Now, if it is the best idea to impose these tariffs on other, like otherwise great trading partners, it is another question. And if you saw the markets, the US markets reacted to this intensely, with a huge drop in all major US stocks and bonds. And you could ask why. It is pretty simple. Like, you can analyze this from a perspective that yes, finally the US is going to tariff these nations because they are taking advantage of the most like the wealthiest country on the planet. But you can also take a look at this whole situation and say, yeah, the US is going to tariff all these otherwise great partners, these trading partners with hundreds of billions of dollars that are buying all this stuff from the US, and it can impact the US economy in a very negative way. And I am not saying this because of any political reason, just based on numbers, because I understand both sides. I understand why the government thinks it is a great idea, in fact, to impose these tariffs. And for a certain, like, it is like tariffs are a very, very powerful tool So I am not saying that it is something that has historically not worked. It wouldn't be true at all. Tariffs are a great it can be used as sanction. It can be used as kind of balancing trade relations. It can be used for many things, but to impose all these tariffs based on numbers to all of your great big trading partners can really lead to a bad, as if it is done with bad intentions, and kind of like an imperial intention that you want to establish your dominance. You want to show that others are smaller than you, and it is not a great way to start a new cycle of trading when you are the most powerful nation on earth and you have the best statistics amongst all the developed countries. So to turn everything over and just say, from now on I am going to impose all these tariffs, it can really backfire at you. And since I am a numbers guy, I'm not saying that it is 100% the case, that it is going to be the case necessarily, because there are some factors that can happen, and the US can actually become even stronger, which is crazy. Like, it is very economically it is very strong amongst all the developed nations, where there is barely any growth. I don't want to say this because it can really lead to some crazy events down the road in the following years, but the economies, the major European economies, are really slowing down. Of course, they try to invest in other parts of the world and all these things. They try to bring more skilled labor from different countries that are going to be also living in these slowly declining countries, almost all the Western European countries with declining birth rates, and it is going to be a huge issue down the road. So, because the US is so powerful, it has a good demographic as well as a insanely good strategic location. Even if it is an extremely bad idea, that if any other country would do it, it would fail miserably and it would go back to the Stone Age. The US is the only country that can do it, even if it's a bad idea, and can survive because it is so strong, so powerful, based on all the economic factors, strategic location, or both oceans between the US and all the major powers, all these. And so what I am saying is that, based on my prediction, US stocks are going to be declining for a good while now, as they are doing it now, because investors, they don't want to see this huge chaos and all these threats to your biggest trade partners, because at the end of the day, and this is the message of the video, even if you are the biggest country in the world, the most powerful, the most beautiful, even if that is the case, if nobody is going to buy your stuff that you want to export because they are just tired of you, and the tariffs made everything more expensive in your country, and they are also tariffing your country back. If these things happen, you can very well experienced a huge decline even in the quarterly GDP numbers, because if it is going to be successful, as I said, I am not going to talk about any politics, but just the facts. If it's going to be successful, it takes years to feel it, that the US economy is even more powerful because of all these things, and because these rules were successful, all the tariffs were successful, and all the countries realized that they can't trade without the US, because the US is almost the only country on earth that is really buying all this stuff, because it is a highly consumer it is just a market where everybody is like almost demanded to consume. Everybody is it is the biggest thing to consume things. So in many countries, even if they are developed, there is not as many consumption as in the US and purchasing power. So it is also very important. If it's going to be successful, even then it's going to take years, and there is a higher chance that it is not going to be successful, and many of the US trade partners are going to find other ways to sell their stuff. They are going to form alliances between each other, and the world is going to go on. And yes, the US is going to be powerful because of its location and everything, the whole culture, but it can decline in GDP because they are at a overall the economy is the most powerful in the world, so you can decline from that point. And if you decline from that point, your numbers are going to be declining, like GDP numbers and consumer price indexes, and inflation is going to hit new highs as well. And if down the road, in years and years, it really happens that with all the investments in the country, really many powerful firms, companies are going to build in the US, going to factories, everything, then it's going to be okay. But it is not now. It is not in 2 months, 3 months, or even 1 year. And the markets are going to be insane for many months to come. So I am now really focusing on developing my EAs and adapting them to these kind of times.